the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, way to go, Elena. Good job, Oliver. All right, folks, we're going to get this thing underway. We're going to start this show off tonight with one class of our Illinois Tractor Pulling Association here locally, a state-level pull. We've got the 85 limited pro stocks here tonight. So we're going to get the show started with them. Then we're going to move to our Pro Pulling League portion of the show. We're going to start it off with our 9,300-pound Super Farms. Then we're going to move into our super modified two-wheel drive trucks. Then we're going to go to our Unlimited Super Stock class, and we're going to round out the evening with our super modified tractors. I want to thank you all for coming on behalf of the Brown County Fair here on this beautiful evening. Weather just like we ordered it. So as I said before, we're going to start off with the Illinois Tractor Pulling Association. The Illinois Tractor Pulling Association welcomes you to this 2025 ITPA sanctioned event presented by Asgrow DeKalb, which is part of the Simpico Pulling Circuit, sponsored by John Deere and Sloan Implement, Rural King. During the summer, ITPA will sanction over 50 events in Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, and Missouri. So as we're listening, we got some of our later classes back here in the pits getting started, getting a little heat built up in these motors. This 85 limited pro stock class, we're going to bring up here first Mr. Adam Winkleman out of Concord, Illinois on a John Deere 4430, and he will be our option puller. We're going to get this thing underway. So while we're waiting to get our first contestant up, we've got a few people up here in the announcer stand we'd like to introduce to you all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tractor Pull. I am your 2025 Miss Brown County Fair Queen, Hallie Sefton.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am your Junior Miss Brown County Fair, Marley Cassing.
Hello, everybody. I'm your Little Miss Brown County, Little Miss Lindy Croxton.
Good job.
Hi. I'm 25 Brown.
Little Miss
Little Mr. Brown County Fair.
Luke Shear.
Luke Shear.
All right, give them a round of applause. That is your royal court here for the fair this week. So this was supposed to be our second night of pulling here at the fair. Unfortunately, last night we had a little bit too much rain. Mother Nature sometimes plays that card in the summer. We cannot complain about rains in June, July, and August, but just a little too wet, so we're going to have one night of pulling action here. And again, we're going to get started with these 8,500-pound limited pro stocks. We've got 14 of our competitors here tonight. So a really good class. This class is very popular throughout the Midwest. You'll see this level of tractor on a couple of different circuits. Sometimes they do have different names, but essentially this is 8,500 pounds with the driver. They are limited to a 24.5-inch rear tire, one single charger, no bigger than 3 inches on the inlet, 4 inches on the exhaust, 466 cubic inch limit, and they can run a maximum of a 20-inch drawbar. They cannot be any higher than the 20-inch drawbar. Again, these tractors are very, very popular. This class, one of the most popular with the Illinois Tractor Pulling Association. They travel a lot throughout the summer, sometimes making upwards of 30 hooks, chasing a points title, and trying to get their hands on some of that point fund money at the end of the year at our banquet in Springfield in December. So while we're waiting for everything to get finalized here, we're getting this last little bit of track preparation taken care of. I want to thank some of our sponsors here for our track pull superintendents for this evening's festivities, Mr. Rod Buss, Mr. Lane Wasey, Mark Roberts, and our Brown County Fair president is Mr. Ronnie McCaskill. We've got a couple of elite sponsors here that without their help we could not put this pull on. We want to thank Dot Foods, Farmers State Bank and Trust Company, Jennings Beardstow, and Sullivan Auctioneers and Big Iron. So it looks like we're getting our first puller, Mr. Adam Winkelman, lined up here. Got a beautiful John Deere 4430. So as you're looking at these tractors, you'll notice they've got weights hanging all over them. So one of the things that the pullers are allowed to do is take those weights and move them forward and back. They've got usually weight bar on the back of the tractor. They've got, of course, their weight out front. And then most of them have a belly bar, which puts those weights right in front of the rear tires of the tractor. So they're trying to get that balance set up just right, the way they want. And they are allowed to adjust that. So Mr. Winkelman here is going to be our option puller. What that means is he's going to take a shot at this, and as our option puller, he has the option to turn that pull down. So he'll go make his attempt, and if he gets to the end of the track, thinks, well, maybe should have dropped a gear or went up a gear, he does have the option to drop that and come back to the end of the class. He can exercise that option, or he can accept the pull if our sled operator, Mr. Brandon Bungart, thinks that the sled is set correctly. He gives the green light. If Adam takes his pull, we have a good sled and we will go pulling. Now this 85 Limited Pro Stock class is, with the number of tractors in this class, they're going to essentially be our track breakers. So this track is going to be this is the first time this track has been pulled on as far as tractors here at the 2025 Brown County Fair. So we will use these guys to get this track worked up a little bit, and that they will do for sure. So it looks like Adam's got that chain tight. We got a green flag on the sled. We've got our flaggers down here at the starting line. Mr. Jerry Nelson on the finish line. Mr. Adam Winkelman out of Concord, Illinois. Oh man, something must have popped or something. He didn't, just kind of stopped on him all of a sudden. Didn't sound like he got underneath that charger or anything, but good looking hook. Carried that front end pretty well all the way down the length of that track. So we're going to see what the sled operator has to say. And it looks like Adam is going to drop, so he is going to exercise that option. Drop to the end of the class. We're going to take a look at another one. Looks like Mr. Brian Arnold is going to be up next out of Scioto, Illinois, on a tractor called Minor Disturbance. The beautiful John Deere. I believe that's a 6R series hood, maybe a 7. I can't quite tell from this vantage point. All right, while we're waiting on our next puller, we're going to recognize some more of our fair boards, or our fair sponsors here. We got a couple platinum sponsors. Nutrient Ag Solutions. A couple of our gold sponsors. Prairie Land FS. LG Seeds, Mr. Derek Despain. Cascom. Brown County State Bank. Reich Trucking. Helena Agra Enterprises. Mount Sterling Foods, Mixer Lumber Company, Rusty and Carey Mixer, ADI, Time Well Drainage, County Financial, Torrey Benjamin, Berkey's, Eagle Valley Bank, and Wheeler Auctions and Real Estate. Again, our gold sponsors, want to thank them for their support of the fair here. Again, without their support, this pull does not happen. And they are happy to bring this to you. Hope you had a chance to make your way, get either a cold drink, a hot sandwich. Lots of good food and drink to be had here at the Brown County Fair. We do have some adult beverages. We do ask if you are partaking that you be responsible on your way out of here. We've got a lot of great tractors lined up, trucks and tractors here tonight. But up next, we're going to go to Mr. Brian Arnold on this beautiful John Deere that he calls Minor Disturbance. Looks like he's moved that sled maybe just a little bit up the track. And he's going to take his shot at this Bungart X-Factor sled out of Jefferson City, Missouri. Brian Arnold. All right. Where you at, John Deere fans? Are there any John Deere fans out here? All right, I heard like 4 of you. And a good hook for Brian. Wait and see what the laser tells us. And it looks like Brian is going to set the bar at 327.46, 327.46. So we are measuring this evening with a laser. So we do have a laser set up. We are shooting to the front of the sled. Some of the things that are not necessarily understood about tractor pulling is where they are measuring to. So they are not measuring to the front of the tractor. They are measuring to the front of the sled. Asgrow DeKalb is proud to be a major point punt sponsor of the Illinois Tractor Pulling Association and wishes good luck to those participating in today's event and for a safe and successful pulling season. Thank you for the continued business. And we thank them for their support of the Illinois Tractor Pulling Association. Up next, we've got the hometown boy, Mr. Mark Roberts, on a tractor he calls Forcenet, a John Deere 4455. So Mark is one of our tractor pull superintendents here at the Brown County Fair. These guys have been working relentlessly to try to bring you this show here tonight. A lot of time and energy spent trying to get everything set up accordingly. course, Mother Nature dealt them a little bit of an issue with all this rain, but again, it's just a minor inconvenience. We want to make sure we are grateful for rain in July and August. So we've got another John Deere coming to you out of Timewell, Illinois. John Deere 4455 trying to get down there past that Burris seed leader flag. 327.46 is what he's got to go. And he's right there with them. A good hook for Mark. This track is going to turn into something really good here in just a little bit. It's always first couple of tractors out, going to have a little bit of an issue getting that thing worked in, but it's just going to get better and better as the night goes. Mark needed to go 327.46, comes up just a bit short, 321.60, 321.60. So all you Red fans, we've got a red one coming up. Mr. Ethan Fuller out of Polka. Got Ethan coming to us out of Pocahontas, Illinois on an IH 1026 tractor. So as I was saying, these 85 limited pro stock pullers drive all over the state of Illinois during the summer, pulling for the points race in this class. Ethan's coming to us. He's sitting in the 4th spot right now. I believe they have 12 hooks left to go this summer. It's going to get that backed in there. So one of the things about these pulls here, these pullers have an option. So if you see when that tractor leaves the line, behind that sled right now, there's an orange cone. They will take that orange cone and they are permitted to move that anywhere between the 2 white lines that run down the track. So they can move it down. When I say down, that means they can move it towards me. If they want to move it up, from where I'm standing, up is towards the grandstand. But you'll see these guys generally leave it fairly close to where the other guys are running. They'll call that building a road. Ethan's going to take his shot, needs to get past that 327.5 foot mark. See what he's got. And a good shot for all you Red fans. Ethan making a nice hook there. Carried that front end. Very nice. Or 8. It's going to put him in the number 2 spot here this evening. We've got 11 pullers left to go in this class. So if you look down there on the starting line right now, there's that orange cone. Our next puller, Mr. Sean Stone King, is back there on that beautiful black 66 series tractor, and Mr. Josh Kane was spotting the sled for him, so it looks like they moved it down just a little bit. Again, they can position that sled wherever they want, and Brandon will put the center of that sled right against that cone. These pullers have watched a couple of these other guys go down the track, think that they see something in that track, so they're going to give themselves the best shot at being able to make their hook. Again, this 85 limited pro stock class, very, very popular class. Like I said before earlier, 3-inch by 4-inch charger, so that means a 3-inch inlet on the charger and a 4-inch exhaust opening. These tractors are going to be somewhere in the 14 100-ish range, maybe a touch more. Depends on who you ask, and it depends on where they dyno, but they are running an ag chassis, so they do, as part of their rules package, have to run stock castings in the transmission and the rear end housing. The motor does have to be in the stock location, so this is essentially underneath here the same castings that your 1066 or whatever on the farm would have. It's just that is pretty much all it is. It is just the housings. They have been modified, they have been chopped, and they have shoved a lot of aftermarket components in there. A lot of these driveline components are all billet. With the amount of torque that these things are making, they have to have it up as strong as they can get it, and the OEM stuff just doesn't seem to hold up. This tractor is probably coming out of the factory somewhere in the 110-ish range, maybe a little more, depends on which model of tractor, but that's about where those DT466s would generally be. And again, they're taking that OEM engine block and they're shoving 1,400 horsepower through it, so it's quite a bit more than what our engineers at the International Harvester Company ever thought they would get out of these motors, I'm sure. But very popular class, a lot of availability of parts. We got Mr. Sean Stone King out of Macomb, Illinois on the War Machine. And you see our flagman down here waving that red flag. So unfortunately, what we had right there, if you could see underneath that tractor, as soon as he left the line, he was throwing something out of that tractor, that engine. Most of these tractors do run a dry block, so that means there is no antifreeze anywhere within the cooling system on these tractors. Some do, but a lot of them do not. And unfortunately, when they're not, that leaves it to one potential source of lubrication, but that looks a lot like antifreeze. But then again, some of that oil in that engine can have that same color. So when our flagmen see that happening, they will throw that red flag. And the reason they do that is one, they don't want all of that fluid on the track, and two, they're trying to save that engine for our competitor. When you're in the seat of one of these things, you don't have a lot of time to look at things. A lot of these have computerized dashes, digital dashes based on a tablet of some kind or another. And those things happen really fast when you're going down the track like that. Your front end is in the air. All you're worried about is keeping this thing in a straight line down there. And they do potentially fail to see some of that sometimes. And even though our flagman so they were trying to get him stopped, they are going to go ahead and give him a distance. Sean's going to come in at 274.39, 274.39. But again, as I stopped, so they're trying to keep those fluids off the track for anybody behind them, and they're also trying to help him save that motor because, like I said, so they're trying to get him so he does not. All right, as we're getting that track kind of worked back in, they're going to take that rake and they're going to rake that dirt in as best they can, get it out of, try to get that worked in as best they can so we don't have any issues with anyone else hitting those spots. We do have the use of some oil dry that we will use, and it's actually not oil dry like what you'd normally buy from the local hardware store or maybe your local auto parts store. In some cases you can. A lot of times what we run is actually ground up coconut shells. Very, very absorbent. Does a great job. And it also does not stay in that track in the granular form. It will essentially just go away. So that's what they were sprinkling on that track down there towards the starting line. Up next, we've got Mr. David Knapp out of Henry, Illinois on a tractor called the Mule Train. So got them beautiful Wheatland style fenders. We're going to take another shot here with a red tractor. Very slick tractor and a beautiful tractor. And a very, very good running tractor at that. Got a couple of our silver sponsors we want to thank. Mount Sterling Implement, Mr. Mark and Matt Hill. Brand Consolidated, Market Iron and Metal, Care Auction, Alex and Gina Kerr. Ray Insurance Agency, LLC, Brad Casing, Frankie's. And you heard that tractor there at the end of the track. All right. David's going to go a distance of 302.71, 302.71. All right, as we're So as we're going along here, can you go down by one of these speakers and see if you can hear me? Up next, we've got Mr. Jared Fender on a tractor they call Lethal Threat. Out of Bonneville, Illinois.
I know. I'm trying to get the sound guy over here. Both of my mics are screwed up for some reason.
All right, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. All right, we're trying to get these mics sorted out just a little bit. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Again, this is Jared Fender out of Bonneville, Illinois, on a tractor he calls Lethal Threat. All right, good hook for Jared. Needed to go a distance of 327.46. He goes 327.54, new leader. Check, check. All right. Up next. All right. Check, check. Is he texting? Watch my phone. All right. Hey, we got a little bit of sound. We're coming back now. Sorry about the technical difficulty. All right. So up next, we've got our current points leader in the Illinois Tractor Pulling Association in this 8,500-pound limited pro stock class, Mr. Jason Zumballen out of Wheeler, Illinois, on a tractor he calls Unchained Madness. Now, Jason's been having a really good year. Shares a seat time with son Evan, and he's going to see what he can do to take a shot at that leader flag. All Red fans, he had to get past that Burris seed leader flag. He's right down there with them. While we're waiting on the distance, folks, if you have young children out here watching the tractor pulls, they need to stay behind those cables down in front of the pit side trailers. They have to be behind those cables. They cannot be running alongside those tractors. We know it's fun, but unfortunately we can't have you doing that. So when we were having a little bit of an issue with our microphones, Jared Fender went one puller ago and took that leader flag and moved it 327.54. So that's the mark that Jason Zumballen had to beat. Red fans, he took that flag and moved it to 328.93, 328.93. So we got a new leader. New leader. We got 6 more tractors to go in this class. Then we're going to change courses just a little bit here, and we're going to move to our 9,300-pound Super Farm class as part of the Champions Tour, the Pro Pulling League. Our class sponsor for those the 9,300-pound Super Farms is Apex Turbo. So we thank them very much for their sponsorship of the class here tonight. But up next, we've got a tractor called Gunsmoke. Now, this tractor is got some shared seat time between Mr. Josh and brother Devin Kane. Josh in the seat tonight. They are currently sitting number 5 in the points race. Again, these 85 Limited Pros have 12 hooks left on the season. Lots and lots of driving that these guys do all across the state. Got him backed into the sled here. These guys, Josh and Devin, have been pulling with the Illinois Tractor Pullers Association for quite a while. They used to pull in the 9,500-pound Pro Farm class. Switched over a couple of years ago to the 85 Limited Pro Stock class. We've had a lot of good success with it. This tractor has been a couple of different colors, but a couple of, maybe 2 years, brought this tractor out in this gunmetal gray color. Beautiful tractor, MX sheet metal. Josh is coming to us out of Litchfield, Illinois. Got to get out there past 328.93. And if you saw Josh on that, as he's coming down that track, he started drifting down to this pit side. Looked like maybe he had touched the brake just a little bit. Josh goes a distance of 302.32, 302.32. All right. So we've got a couple of pullers left in this class. Looks like we've got 5 left. Up next, we're going to have Mr. Robert Fuller out of Pocahontas, Illinois on an IH 1206. We saw Robert's son Ethan out here just a little bit ago. Robert is currently sitting tied for second in the points race. So Robert's going to come up here and take a shot at that leader flag set by Jason Zumballen. Jason and Evan Zumballen, that is our current points leader, and that is who Robert is trailing but making up ground. So Robert's been a past Illinois Tractor Pulling Association champion in this 85 Limited Pro Stock class. Also won Best Appearing Stock. He bought this tractor, probably 6 or 7 years ago now would be my guess. Another gentleman was pulling this in the ITPA, and they purchased this tractor and have done a lot of work to it to get it to where it is today. Very, very competitive tractor, very competitive class. This class of 85 Limited Pro Stocks, when they say anyone can win on any given night, there is probably no other class where this is more apparent. They have a ton of parity across this class through all colors and all tractors. They've got these things figured out, squeezing all the horsepower of them they can get. Robert's going to take his shot, got to get past that leader flag, 328.93. Mr. Robert Fuller, Pocahontas, Illinois, on the IH 1206. And that old Bungard X Factor sled's gonna bring him to a stop. See what the laser tells us. Robert's going to come in at 323.17, 323.17. Good hook for Robert with just a few tractors left in the class. Now, folks, you'll see, if you were watching down towards the starting line, we had a hauler roll in just a little bit ago. That was Mr. Brandon Simon. We'll see him in our last class here this evening with our super modified tractors. Brandon was at a pull this afternoon. He was pulling that tractor this afternoon, 7.5 hours away in Rockwell, Iowa. They made that hook this afternoon, loaded it up, and brought it here. He is in the points lead right now. We've got a couple of other tractors that are headed to us from that pull as well. But making the hook in Iowa, driving 7.5 hours to make another hook with a super modified tractor, that is a feat in itself. So very glad they were able to make it safely. And we will see them a little bit later in the class. So if you look down here towards the starting line, we're trying to get everybody packed in for the second portion of our show. But we've still got some 85s left to run. So up next, we're going to bring up a tractor called Bad Influence. Mr. Tony McMullen out of Minden, Illinois. This is an IH 856. Tony's been pulling, gosh, a long time in a lot of different classes. Affectionately referred to as Ponytail. If you see Tony, you'll know why we call him that. He's pulled in many classes. He's actually pulled a couple of tractors. He was the hired gun in the Super Farm class. I'm not sure if he's still doing any of that or not, but there for a couple of years he was campaigning a couple of tractors for a gentleman out of California. But this is his tractor. He's had this tractor with the Illinois Tractor Pulling Association for many years. A very, very competitive tractor. So he's going to wind it up here, see if he can get it past that Burro Seed leader flag. Oh, and unfortunately, got it pulled down there on the big end, and she decided she had had enough. So a lot of times these guys will try to get on a good track. They'll try to shift and get everything out of it that they can. Tony goes 308.17, 308.17. With 3 tractors left in the class. So again, like I was talking about earlier, most of these engines do not run any kind of coolant in them. They have no antifreeze inside the blocks. There are some that do, but for the most part, they're dry blocks. So what they're doing is they're running water injection in the motor, and they're monitoring those exhaust temperatures for the most part. Got to keep those exhaust temperatures. You start getting into the 1500 range, you're going to start drastically reducing the life of those pistons. You really like to keep it just a little cooler than that. And the only way they can do that is they throw water into the intake side of the motor. So while they're also shoving diesel fuel into these things, they're throwing some water at them. Now that's got some performance benefits on its own, but one of the things that it does do is it does act as a little bit of a coolant for the motor. It keeps them from melting down. If you get those aluminum pistons too hot, they will melt. And when they melt, they take a lot of other stuff with them. And that is never good. When you hook as many times as these guys do in a summer, it's a very big feat just to get to all of the hooks and keep your tractor running. So when you start talking about running for points, wins can be huge, but consistency really does pay off. And with that, you've got to stay on top of the maintenance of these tractors. You get into some of these bigger classes, these guys are putting 3 passes on a motor, and then they're going to go ahead and change that oil after 3 passes just because they don't want to risk it. Some of these oil changes with the performance oil that they have can get pretty pricey, but it is a as they say, price you have to pay because the oil is specifically blended for these high-performance diesel engines. So up next, out of McLeansboro, Illinois, on a tractor called It's Just Money, Mr. Nathan Berkner. Now, this was your 2024 ITPA points champion. Nathan had a very good summer last year on this tractor. Nathan's got a couple different businesses that he works on. He's got a farm, does some grain farming. He's got a right-of-way mowing business, so he's doing a lot of that across the country. And then he's also got a butcher shop. Out of McLeansboro, Illinois, Mr. Nathan Berkner. And unfortunately, that motor had decided it had enough. Folks, if you do have children out here, they do need to stay behind those cables. They have got to stay behind the cables over here on the pit side. Please make sure that they do. They cannot be running alongside tractors. Nathan's going to go 309.47, 309.47. You can smell that diesel smoke. These guys are throwing a lot of diesel fuel at these things. They are running a P-Series, a P7100 series pump for the most part. 13 millimeter plungers is what they are limited to. We've got 2 pullers left in this class, and we're going to bring up Mr. Nick DeVries out of New Douglas, Illinois, on a tractor he calls the Smoke Wagon. So as I was saying earlier, they've got that cone they can move down there on the starting line. So they can move it up and down anywhere between those 2 white lines that run the length of the track. What I'm seeing is most of these guys are staying in pretty much the same spot. They're staying in the center of the track. Might be left of center or right of center, but for the most part, they're staying in that center area of the track. They are allowed to push it. They could go over there and, as they say, walk the line. With that, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So as these guys are going up and down this track, in some cases they're working it in, as they say, building a road. It's being packed down, that sled's going over all that weight. They like a little bit firmer track, but you will see guys that decide, hey, I'm going to go try to find something, and they may move it way outside of that groove. I suspect we might see a little bit more of that as we get a little farther along in the show with some of these other classes. But for the most part, these 85 Limited Pros do like to kind of run in the same spot. So when these tractors come across the scales, they are weighed with the driver. 8,500 pounds is the max with the driver, full fuel. The weights can be moved back and forth, but they do have to come in at 8,500 pounds. Now they have a drawbar back there, and they've got adjustments that they can make, so they can take that drawbar up and down, but they cannot exceed 20 inches maximum. They cannot be more than 20 inches off the ground with the highest part of the hook, or sorry, highest part of the hitch in the hook area. So they will move that up and down. Most of this class is going to run it right at that 20-inch limit. I don't think these guys they don't want to give up any drawbar. But again, we've got Mr. Nick DeVries out of New Douglas, Illinois, on a beautiful tractor called the Smoke Wagon, 66 series tractor, international. Very popular, both in the OEM world and in the tractor pulling world. And he's got to get down there past Jason Zumballen at 328.93. Going to see what he can do. Did a good shot there. Gonna park it down there with the rest of the class. .57, 316.57 for Mr. Nick DeVries. And that's going to bring up our last puller of the class, Mr. Tim McVicker, on a tractor he calls the Red Wrecker. Tim come to us out of Heron, Illinois. So Tim had a long drive from Southern Illinois. Tim is in the excavation and demolition business. Wife Kim is here supporting him tonight. She gets to ride in the shotgun seat of the semi. And this is going to be our last tractor here in this 8,500-pound limited pro stock class. So Tim has been pulling for quite a while.
Get ready, Hillsboro. It's the event of the summer, the Hillsboro Charity Tractor Pull, August 8th and 9th. 3 thrilling sessions over 2 days with 8 pro pulling league classes. Horsepower, dirt flying, and fun for the whole family. Tickets are just $25 and kids 10 and under get it free. Feel the power. Support a cause. Don't miss the Hillsboro Charity Tractor Pull, August 8th and 9th.
In that 8,500-pound limited pro stock class. So Tim's going to back into that Bungard X Factor sled. Mr. Adam Winkleman, if you can hear us. Mr. Adam Winkleman, we need you back down at the starting line with your tractor. Adam Winkleman, back down at the starting line with your tractor if you are not there. All right, Tim McVicker on the tractor he calls the Red Wrecker. All right, now Brandon's getting him stopped, but he's also letting him drag it just a little bit. And I was mistaken. We did have an option puller that exercised his option, so here we see Adam coming back down to the starting line. He was our option puller in this class, and he's going to come back and make another hook. So Tim goes 318.57, 318.57. And now we've got one tractor left. John Deere fans, this is your last shot at the class win. And this will be Adam Winkleman out of Concord, Illinois, on a John Deere 4430. I want to thank our track crew here tonight for getting everything squared away. Done a great job working this track. Normally this track just gets better and better as the night goes on. So what happens is as the sun goes down, that moisture will actually start coming up in that track, give it a little more bite. And when you're throwing the amount of horsepower at this track like these classes do, good tight tracks that can handle it, that is what they need. So we've got a diesel class here now in this 85 Limited Pro Stocks. our 9,300-pound super farms. They're going to be a diesel class. We're going to move into the super modified two-wheel drive trucks that you can see down here by the starting line. And folks, if you don't have hearing protection for youngsters, when these two-wheel drive trucks get to going down the track, you're going to want to either protect their ears or hopefully they have some sort of hearing protection. We will have a couple of other classes that can get a little bit noisy on those young ears. So please be prepared to cover their ears. Might have to sacrifice your own just a little bit. All right, our last puller in the class, Mr. Adam Winkleman, John Deere 4430. Oh, he's giving it all he's got. Good shot. We're going to wait and see what that leader flag tells us. Trying to get past that Burris Seed leader flag. 328.93 was where it was setting. Adam going to come up just a bit short. 323.29. 323.29. And that is going to round out our class. Mr. Jason Zumballen on the Unchained Madness is going to be your winner. All you Red fans got one in the books already. And we'll get you a class rundown here in just a second. We'll get them sorted out. Again, on behalf of the Brown County Fair, we want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Got a great night of pulling yet to come. Kicked it off with this 8,500-pound limited pro stock class with the Illinois Tractor Pulling Association. And with that, we are going to move to our Pro Pulling League action. All right. So we'll get the rundown here in just a second. On behalf of the Illinois Tractor Pulling Association, we want to thank the Brown County Fair for hosting this class here tonight. And with that, we're going to move into our 9,300-pound Super Farm class with the Pro Pulling League Champions Tour. This class is brought to you by Apex Turbo, and we greatly appreciate their support for the Pro Pulling League. So this class is somewhat similar to the class that you saw with the 85 limited pro stock tractors. 24.5 tires, 9,300 pounds. These guys are able to run up to 640 cubic inches. So our last class was 466. And these guys are running 640 cubic inch max. They are also running an ag style chassis, so they cannot run a component chassis. So this has stock castings in it, of course. Just as the last class, most everything on the internals are billet, so they'll drop either a Profab or an Atlas transmission, something like that, into that stock housing. And then all of their driveline components, pinion shafts, and all of that stuff, those are usually all billet components, high strength, a lot of 4340 metal in the rear ends of these, just so they can hold up to the amount of torque that these guys are putting in there. All right, we'll run down our 85 limited pro stock class. top 10, we're going to go with Nathan Berkner. Number 9, Nick DeVries. Number 8, Tim McVicker. Number 7, Mark Roberts. Number 6, Robert Fuller. And our top 5, Mr. Adam Winkleman, the last tractor you saw go down the track. Number 4, Ethan Fuller out of Pocahontas, Illinois. And top 3, Brian Arnold on a tractor he calls Minor Disturbance, that beautiful John Deere 327.46. Number 2, it's going to end up with Jared Fender on the Lethal Threat tractor 327.54. And your winner, Mr. Jason Zumballen, Unchained Madness 328.93. So give them all a round of applause, folks. Jason, if you can make your way up here to the announcer's stand, see if I can get a word with you. I know how you love to have a microphone in your face. So, all right, switching gears here, literally. Going to the Pro Polling League tractors. All right, and that was Mr. Michael Snepp on a tractor he calls Thunderstorm. And again, Michael is our option puller, so he does have the option to turn that hook down. Of course, with this class being a different class, we make a little tweak on the sled. Snepp is going to exercise that option. He's going to drop to the bottom of the class. And that's going to bring up Mr. Brian Barman on a hooked up tractor. Beautiful black and red 66 series international tractor. Brian Barman is currently sitting in the number 5 spot in our points race out of Middleton, Wisconsin. Got 2 wins on the season already from our Joliet hook and our Freeport hook. So looking to move up in that points race. Again, this is one of those classes that pretty much anybody can win at any given time. Very tightly matched class of tractors. So these Super Farm tractors, again, 9,300 pounds, 24.5 inch tires, 640 cubic inch. They are running an ag chassis. They are allowed to run intercoolers. So what that does is they have ice boxes that have got a lot of ice cold water in them. They will take that ice cold water and they essentially pump it through a box that's got some radiators in it. And it takes that incoming air to that motor. Of course, it's coming directly out of the turbocharger, so it's a little bit warm. They run it through those radiators and they super cool that air. Shove as much of it into that motor as they can. They will fill those ice boxes. Depends on which tractors. Some of them might be bigger than others, but you could probably average somewhere between 50 and 100 pounds of ice, and by the time they get to the end of the track, that ice is all gone. They have pulled all of the cooling out of that ice, super cooled that air going into that motor, threw a whole bunch of diesel fuel at it at a good rate of pressure, and squeezed on it real hard with some pistons and made lots of power to get down this track. These guys are running a 20-inch maximum height on the drawbar as well, same as our last class. Again, very similar In appearance, they are running a single charger, 3-inch by 3-inch. So 3-inch on the inlet, 3-inch on the outlet. And they are allowed to run a slotted charger. A lot of good color representation in this class. You're going to see some green, some orange, some red. Every once in a while, you'll see a couple of different colors. But we've got some good ones here tonight. Again, we've got Mr. Brian Barman here. Got a green flag on the track. On a tractor he calls hooked up. Going to take a shot at that leader flag. And he's getting everything he can get out of it. A good hook by Brian there. Now you saw that front end get up pretty high in the air right as he let out on that clutch, and that just tells you how good this track is. So he was hooked into it really good. Brought that front end up a little higher than he might have wanted. I would venture to say if he had a do-over, he might consider another weight forward. But Brian had to get past that 312 mark, and he did it with authority. 337.51, 337.519. So Brian's going to move that leader flag out there. We're going to go from red to green. So up next, we're going to bring up a tractor. Been very well recognized out on the circuit. And this is a tractor called Fast and Furious, driven by Mr. Don Slama out of Hillsboro, Wisconsin. Now, if you have been around the polling circuit or been around the national polling circuit, you may have heard of the Hillsboro, Wisconsin area for a tractor pull that is coming up this year. So Don Slama puts this Hillsboro charity tractor pull on every year. Don, very active in the community up there, just puts a tractor pull on. It is a 2-day hook coming up. Very, very good facility up there. He's traveled down here tonight. Don's sitting in the number 10 spot in our Apex Turbo Super Farm class this year. One of the things I forgot to mention, we are live streaming this poll right now on Pro Polling TV. So propolling.tv. Catch all kinds of polling action all over the summer with the Pro Polling League.